As you probably can imagine, after reading all the newspaper articles recently about the Common Core standards, coming here today, I was a little bit nervous. But I really am. I wanted to be informative and to help you guide your child rather, in becoming successful while they're in the elementary school, shooting K. I'm going to be addressing grades K through 5 today. And one of the things I noticed when I think of my title, Helping Parents Understand the Common Core and Literacies, I want to talk about why Common Core is here. And I'm not here today to talk about some of the bumps that how Common Core has been introduced, but I want to talk about how I can help you so that you can be successful and your child will feel empowered in the classroom. Because I think that's why I'm here today, to really make your child feel great and excited about school. See, the Common Core standards, I'm not going to read too many of the slides, but I wanted to talk about what I'm going to be focusing on today. What is the goal of Common Core standards? Have you heard about the shifts? Have you heard that word, shifts, within Common Core standards? No? That's great. So I'm going to talk about what that means. And that means what changes have occurred and how that's going to actually help your child in the educational classroom. And what does this mean for parents? Just to give you a little background who I am, I'm a parent. I'm here as a parent tonight, I feel like, because I have 2 different kids. I have one child who's bright, but I hate to say it, a little lazy. She's a 5th grader. And I have a son who had early intervention, and now he's in 1st grade, and I worked really hard with him, and he's on grade level. But it was a long struggle. I had two different worlds. And I think a lot of parents can relate to me, because sometimes you have those bumps with the homework and in the classroom. And then sometimes you have that child who's very bright and you don't feel they're being pushed enough. And also you have the middle of the road child who's on grade, but maybe you want a little more. And I think tonight some of the concerns I'm going to talk about is going to help all students. So one of the questions sometimes parents have said to me, why do we need new standards? I liked what I had. I've had people say that. I've had concerns as a parent all along, to be honest, and I'll talk a little bit about that. The sad reality prior to the Common Core students was that sometimes I felt parents would say, oh, I hope my child gets that teacher, because that teacher does this, and this teacher doesn't. Okay? Sometimes. Sometimes parents have said to me, why did my son have that experience, but my daughter had a totally different experience with that teacher in the same grade? Sometimes parents have said to me, how do I know what's going on? I feel like my teacher's working alone. I don't know if all the teachers are on the same page. So what I like about the Common Core standards is that it's going to finally bring schools together, okay? And it's going to make you informed as a parent. And that's the key piece that I think parents aren't aware with Common Core standards. You're going to be informed. You're going to be able to see exactly what your child's expected to know throughout the year. And for me, that gives me a sense of peace. I like that piece. I like this silly cartoon, and I don't mean to be offensive. I just think it's very cute. And the reason I include it is because it is time to jump on board. It's time to jump on board, and and the Common Core standards is here to stay. Okay. And when I say that, I'm not here as a politician. I'm just saying it's here. So we have to embrace it at this point. I didn't write the Common Core standards. I was not, I'm a teacher, and I was just like a lot of you. It was kind of disrupted, and it became part of my life. And there are a lot of things I like that I say, and I'm going to talk about that. Oops. Okay. All right. So I don't know why that's up there, but I'll read that slide so you can see. So, why does this matter? What do our students need? Well, I want to talk about 9th grade, because at some point your child's going to be in 9th grade, and that's a pivotal point. And I know for a lot of you who have 1st grade, like my son is a 1st grade. That seems like a long time. That seems like a long. But your child's on a path now, and a new path. So they say for every 100 9th graders, 65 will graduate from high school, 37 will enter college. 24 are still enrolled in the sophomore year, and 12 graduate degree, with a 12th grade graduate with a degree in 6 years. What this really means that out of the people who graduate, those students, only 6 will actually get a job, okay? The other piece of statistics that I think is very interesting right now is that 25% of all 9th graders, okay, are entering school prior to the Common Core standards, so we don't know the data, what's going to change. 25% of them either did not graduate or didn't graduate on time. So that's a big percentage of your child's class, okay? So there were problems already. The dropout rate, as you probably know, is high in this country, and people wanted our students to be career and college ready. So sometimes parents say, well, what does this mean for me? Well, it does mean, I don't think it means any more work that you're already putting in. I just think it means a different type of work. And this is why I'm here tonight. What I want you to do, because I think it's important to embrace and listen to each other, I want you to talk about the strategy you use to get your kids talking about their days after school. So in other words, what kind of questions do you ask? Do you discuss what they tell you? How do you get them excited to talk? And what do you do when they refuse to talk? I'd like to give you about 2 minutes. You can just turn, if you feel comfortable, just turn into your partner and asking, what's your strategy to get your kids to talk? Some of you have children that talk. I personally have children who don't talk. Literally every day they walk past me, and we'll say hello, and they're ready for his snack. Where's this? I don't have a lot of conversation. I really have to drill. So I'm just, a skill that I have used, and it's worked for me well, is when I'm in the car. For some reason, the car, and we're not making eye-to-eye contact, silly as it sounds, children love to open up. I'll get a lot of information driving. Driving is when, those short trips to the soccer field, I'll start off with easy. Did you bring your water bottle? Yeah, yesterday I noticed this, and then sometimes I'll get some information because maybe they're trapped, I don't know, no. but they're willing to open up a little bit, and that's a good piece. And they're what? Bedtime. Bedtime, because they don't want to go to bed sometimes, especially little ones, they're so cute. They still want to.
About school at that point.
Yes, half hour early, yes. So, I don't know about you, but every now and then my household gets a little chaotic. Where I'll say, oh yeah, we got to shift again. In my own life, where I'll say, I notice we're eating dinner on the run, or I'm throwing the kids into the bed, like after a game, running everything, and I'll have to stop and pause and re-examine and start over. And I think that's me being an honest mother and a worker, that I have to sometimes remember those things that are so important and say, okay, this week was a little sloppy, maybe I went to the drive-thru for dinner one night because, I had about 15 minutes because I wanted to make sure they had every experience for that one night, and then something else fell to the side, communication. So that's key in a family, obviously, and some of the things I'm going to talk about later, is just so important because that's how you become informed about your child's education, this is a great audience. You're all here, on what is it, Wednesday today? I can't even keep track of it. It's a Wednesday night. So, very good. So, I want to talk a little bit about what Common Core looks like in the classroom. When you think of your students in the classroom, okay, and every child's special. Every child has a gift. Okay, every child has something to offer the classroom. All students are on a different path, right, to get to the end road. Who do you think the most neglected student is in the classroom? Does anybody want to share? The one in the middle, okay.
The one who doesn't talk.
Actually, what did you say?
The one who doesn't talk.
The one who doesn't talk could be.
Doesn't talk.
Talk.
Does not.
Does not, right. Okay, that's interesting, yes? Yes. The most neglected student is the brightest student in the classroom. It kind of makes sense if you think about it, because they already know it, What I like about the Common Core standard is now it addresses all types of learners. It's meant to be so that nobody's forgotten. It's meant to be that there's many pathways to get to the same end results, where there can be enrichment for that child that might need it, and opportunities to go back and to re-examine skills that might have been not learned well. I'm going to use the expression the old way. The old way was that way too, but it was nothing written, there was nothing ensured. Now there's an expectation, and not just for the teachers, but as parents, we know exactly what is that my child is going to learn for this year. Okay? When So the new standards will prepare students to succeed in college and the workforce. They'll ensure that every child, regardless of race, ethnicity, or zip code, is held to the same high standards and learns the same material. And it'll provide educators with a clear, focused roadmap for what to teach and when. All right? That's the plan. Okay? That's the goal. Okay? So in other words, children from upstate and children from Long Island, they're going to be learning the same material. It can be taught differently. There is creativity for the teacher, but there is still an expectation. This is what that child has to learn for that year. Okay? I had mentioned earlier the word shift, and they use that a lot, you know, the word shift in the sense of where the changes will be. Okay? And I want you to be aware of this because I think it's really important. As far as K through 5 especially, there's an equal balance of nonfiction and fiction. Okay? And you know, and I think that's really important because this is going to make you think about what types of books you choose for your child now, perhaps. And I'm going to talk about some of that later on, how you can find access to the books depending upon the child's grade level. Students must read more nonfiction, know the ways nonfiction can be put together, okay? Enjoy and discuss the details of nonfiction. Now, what you folks can do is, besides reading more nonfiction texts, you can start, maybe you do this already, some of you do this already, but some of you might not. When I think of myself as a parent, I notice, especially if my son is in first grade, I don't think I read enough nonfiction. It's kind of made me conscious. Okay, we read a lot of Star Wars. We do. I'm going to talk about that, because I'm actually very proud of Star Wars. Star Wars books are quite challenging for a first grader. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. And having fun with nonfiction by reading that in front of them. Okay? How many of you are readers, out of curiosity? That's great. That's great. That's important. You can create that library time at night, you know, or some kind of system where they see you reading. Okay? The second shift is learning about the world by reading. All right? This is what the Common Core Standards encompasses. Students must get smart in science and social studies through reading. Handle primary source documents. Primary source documents are like authentic documents. Okay? You know, that could be... I'm just making a contract even per se, perhaps, or a checkbook, or, you know, depending upon the grade level, things that would help them be, you know, help them navigate through the world or have a deeper understanding, and get smarter through text.